Welcome to Studio D on the campus of the University of Oklahoma. This is Sooner Sports Pad. Now, here's your host, Allison Gappa.
Welcome to Sooner Sports Pad. I'm Allison Gappa alongside Zach Sapanic, Taylor Newcomb, and our very energetic, loud, live studio audience. Guys, who's in there?
We have members of the women's basketball team and the women's soccer team out there.
Nice.
We also have volunteers from the Expressive Movement Initiative.
And we've got women's basketball head coach Sherry Cole in studio. We'll talk with her later on.
And we'll also take a look at Sherry Cole's role as the OU women's basketball head coach over the years.
And later on in Face Off, Zach and I will debate about whether or not the Big 12 is getting enough playoff love.
But first up, OU lost to Baylor 48-14 after the Sooners jumped out to a 14-3 lead. Taylor, thoughts on this game?
Hey guys, it was a rough day for Sooner football. I think we all know that, but Saturday did at least bring the return of running back Keith Ford. And after seeing him suited up and warming up against Iowa State, fans were really itching to get him back out there, and they finally got to see that against Baylor. He rushed for 40 yards on 8 attempts, so it wasn't too bad. He seemed a little bit rusty, didn't come busting out of the gates like I think a lot of people maybe thought he was going to, but he did get that one really solid 18-yard run in the first quarter that led to the Deron Neal touchdown, so there were definitely some glimpses of greatness there. He'll be back in the flow of things, and I'm personally looking forward to seeing the P. Ryan Ford Ross dynasty return to the football field.
Baylor's Corey Coleman set career highs, 15 catches, 224 yards. Zach, the most receptions ever by a player against the Sooners.
Yeah, well, Coleman had a career day, and much to the chagrin of Julian Wilson, who was guarding him on the opposite side, whether it was flare screens, bubble screens, short passes. Julian Wilson was not able to cover Corey Coleman, and it showed. But most of the game, you can see in the second quarter, Julian Wilson went out with the injury, came out of the locker room, cast on the left hand, and Stoops said in his news conference today, he felt more comfortable with Wilson in that state than whether he had put any of his backups in, and Coleman, he did his job.
Taylor, who are you most impressed with on offense?
I'm definitely most impressed this week with Micaiah Quick. He got his first start in his first couple of carries against Kansas State a couple weeks ago, and this week with Sterling Shepard out, what the Sooners desperately needed was for somebody to step up and fill the void at wide receiver, and this week that someone was Micaiah. Baylor took a quick 3-0 lead, but on the Sooners' next offensive drive, he is pretty quick. Right after Trevor Knight hurdled that one guy, he hurdled the ball 8 yards into the end zone for a touchdown to Micaiah Quick. And let's be honest, touchdowns were pretty hard to come by on Saturday, and his footwork's pretty sweet too, but I'll talk about that one later on in face-off. He had 6 receptions for 94 yards, so not too bad for a true freshman. It was a pretty good game for him.
Zach, who gets it on defense?
Defense, I'm giving it to Dom Alexander. 8 solo tackles, 10 unassisted, and if you're keeping track at home, that's 18 total tackles. Yes, I am smarter than a 5th grader. He's had a cast on his right hand, with a hand injury for several games this year, but he has been a ball hawk for the Sooners no matter what. His name's called a ton. Dom Alexander gets my MVP vote in a rough game.
Well, quarterback Trevor Knight was carted off the field early in the fourth quarter because of an injury. Bob Stoops did say today that he will not practice on Monday. They'll continue to evaluate his status this week for the game on Saturday. If Cody Thomas gets the start in Lubbock, Blake Bell will be the backup quarterback. On defense, Taylor Newcomb caught up with Chuka Ndulue on responding to powerful offenses in this week's Spotlight.
Just getting rid of the ball quickly. You can't give quarterback time to throw the ball back there. So, you just got to get back there and just cause a havoc in the backfield.
Is it harder to put a close loss behind you, a game like K-State, or to put a game like Baylor behind you where it just seemed like nothing was really going your way?
It doesn't matter if it's a point or 30 points. Loss is a loss in our book. We don't want to lose. We're competitors out there. It's just we lost the game and it hurts, period.
At this point, are you guys already moved on looking towards Tech, or are you still trying to move past that?
You got to get ready for your next opponent. The game of football is a game. You got to have a short-term memory. We don't have a bye week to, just sit there and dwell on what we could have done better. We got to move on and get ready for our next opponent, which is Tech. So that's what we're doing right now.
What are you guys doing to prepare for Tech this week?
It's Monday, so I haven't really gotten to the film room. Well, catch me tomorrow. I'll let you know, I guess.
Okay. And what can you tell Sooner fans about what to expect from this team for the rest of the season?
It's just, we're going to keep going out there to compete, fight hard, finish the season on a high note. We shouldn't give up, and we're not going to give up. So we're just going to go out there and play our best every day.
Okay, thanks, Chuka.
Yeah.
Thanks, Taylor. OU women's soccer played in the Big 12 Soccer Championship on Sunday. Taylor, how did it go?
They did play on Sunday, but first, good news first. They found out earlier today that they did make the NCAA tournament. They will be hosting Arkansas on Friday at 7 o'clock in Norman. But like you said, they did play yesterday. The women's soccer team's Big 12 Cinderella story did come up a little bit short. They started out ranked next to last in the Big 12 preseason polls, but they fought their way to the top, entered the Big 12 tournament as the number 6 seed, and then yesterday they competed in the Big 12 championship against West Virginia, who was actually ranked preseason number 1 in the Big 12. Like I said, they did come up a little bit short. The Sooners lost 1-0, but there was a silver lining. 4 members of the women's soccer team were named to the Big 12 All-Tournament team, so It wasn't all bad.
And while the Sooners fell to Baylor at home in football, the volleyball team was doing their own business in Waco, taking care of the Bears in straight sets. That was their 9th time they've done it this year. Kiera Holst led the match with 15 kills on a .351 hitting percentage, but it was Julia Doyle who really stood out, racking up 30 assists, 6 digs, 5 blocks, and 3 service aces. 2 big matches this week for the Sooners as they host Iowa State for their annual Pledge for the Cure match Wednesday, and then the Longhorns coming to town on Saturday.
It'll be a fun one. And the number 19 men's basketball team dominated in their opening exhibition game on Friday at Lloyd Noble. Sooners played Washburn, and the fans got to see a little bit of the old. Buddy Hield had 24 points. Jordan Woodard, Isaiah Cousins both posted double-digit points, and they got to see a little bit of the newcomer Kadeem Lattin racked up 11 boards for the Sooners, so that was definitely fun to see. As a team, the Sooners forced 19 turnovers and 11 steals, leading the Sooners to a pretty stout 73-48 victory. OU has another exhibition game tomorrow night against Southwestern Oklahoma State at 7 at McCaslin Fieldhouse.
While the men's basketball team was in action, the women's basketball team, who is here in the audience tonight, had their own exhibition game against Southeastern Oklahoma State last Wednesday. 13 of the 15 players on the roster saw action, but it was junior guard Nicole Cornett who led all scorers with 18 points. Throw in redshirt sophomore Peyton Little, the transfer from Texas A&M, who had to sit out last year because of NCAA transfer rules, with 16, and you have quite the combo there. 5 Sooners who were in double figures, 50% from the field for the Sooners, a 64-29 out-rebounding advantage against the Savage Storm, and it is a big win for OU. They begin the regular season Friday against Washington, who was number 5 in the Pac-12.
Well, don't go anywhere, because coming up next in Face Off, we'll debate if the national media is snubbing the Big 12 in college football playoff talk. We've also got head coach Sherry Cole in studio. We'll talk with her. Stay with us. That is now time for Face Off, where we debate hot topics. I'm joined by women's basketball head coach Sherry Cole. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
She's going to help us out with Face Off later on, but first up, guys, is the national media snubbing the Big 12 in college football playoff talk? Taylor, you're up first.
All right, well, I definitely don't think that they're getting enough credit. I understand that a lot of the snubbing that's happening, at least on Baylor's end of it, is that they didn't play any challenging non-conference teams early in the season, but I think we should be over that at this point. Both Baylor and TCU have had some really big wins this season, and it still seems like neither one is really being considered by the committee or even the media. TCU just came off of a huge win against K-State, and then yesterday morning, the sports reporters on ESPN didn't even mention Baylor's name in regards to the top 4 after the rout of Oklahoma on Saturday, and that doesn't make any sense to me. Traditionally, sure, these teams may not be 2 teams that you would think of in the top 4, but this year I think they're at least worth talking about.
I'm going to say no, the media is not snubbing the Big 12, and yes, the Big 12 has received enough respect for the College Football Playoff Committee. TCU and Baylor have established their dominance in the Big 12. Get this, Baylor beaten K-State, Oklahoma, as you can see right here, and WVU. Oh, excuse me, that's Baylor. But then TCU, Kansas State on Saturday, WVU in Morgantown, and then Oklahoma as well. And if you look at the teams ahead of them, they're there for a reason. It belongs with the strength of schedule. Strength of schedule for Baylor specifically, you have SMU, Northwestern State, and FCS team in Buffalo, a combined record of 8-19. And then TCU, non-conference opponents. Samford, another FCS team. Minnesota, SMU, combined record of 13-13. If you ask me, the lack of the Big 12 plus the lack of play in the non-conference, yeah, they're getting plenty of attention.
Best move, Micaiah Quick's feet or Trevor Knight's leap?
I'm bringing it back to my offensive MVP, Micaiah Quick. He's quick. He's got quick feet. He's really quick. And I'm just going to keep saying quick because he's really quick. But for real, in the second quarter, Quick showed that he's got the moves. Right after a really nice run by Sonja P. Ryan Knight throws it to Quick. He's got this feet juking it. Then he spins around. He's so quick. He's so quick. That's what I'm going with.
Yeah, well, the Trevor Knight hurdle was the better play of the game, if you ask me. He climbed the ladder. Sherry Cole's here, but Lon Kruger was on the phone after the game asking if he could play a little basketball. Duncan, anything that came his way? Look at this. Look at run,
Really good angle.
jump.
I mean, it's
And it was reminiscent of Bryce Petty early in the year, who did the same thing. So Trevor Knight kind of showing Bryce Petty what's up, as the quarterback did the same thing against Iowa State, as you can see right here. Only his was for a touchdown, so he might have won up Trevor, but I think Trevor had a little more ups on his jump.
All right, guys, this question coming from Coach Sherry Cole.
If I coached a sport other than basketball, what would it be?
All right, Coach Cole, I think that it would be tennis. One thing that I've heard about Sherry Cole is that she's an extremely passionate person. I don't think she's just going to coach a sport just for the sake of coaching it. If she wasn't coaching basketball, maybe she wouldn't be coaching anything. But I hear she's pretty savvy on the tennis court, and it's something that she's passionate about in her personal life. And there's some similarities between basketball and tennis. You got to have, the stop-and-go move, so that's what I'm going with.
Okay, well, you know what? I'm going with baseball. Her husband, Dane, used to coach high school baseball. Now, get this. Sherry is mellow, she's sweet, she has that calm personality, but when she's on the sideline, she can get a little fired up. I could see a little second base, somebody steals second, umpire calls him out, Sherry doesn't agree with him. What does she do? She comes out, takes second into the dugout with her. Okay, I could see that happening. Sherry Cole stands up for her players. She would stand up for her players in a baseball game as well. Baseball, it is.
Okay, it's time to pick our winner. I'm turning to Coach Cole first. Do you think it's Taylor or Zach?
It's close, but I'm going to go with Taylor. You hit the tennis one right out of the park.
All right, crowd, we're turning to you now. Cheer loudest for whoever you think is our winner. Is it Taylor? Or is it Zach? All right, I'm giving that one to Taylor. Good job. It's now time for our tweet of the week. This one coming from Baylor quarterback Bryce Petty. He says, prayers up for my brother Trevor Knight. There's always a plan, always a purpose for everything. Hashtag God's got this. Coming up next, we'll talk more with Coach Sherry Cole, and still to come in this week's Sooner Sports Pad Challenge 4-way ping pong. Stay with us.
Special thanks to our cornerstone television partners, Chesapeake Energy, Riverwind Resort, Anheuser-Busch, OU Outreach, OU Alumni Association, OU Medicine, and the OU President's Associates.
Welcome back to Sooner Sports Pad. OU women's basketball head coach Sherry Cole's next win will be her 400th here at the University of Oklahoma. Michael Runyon is taking us back to where it all started in 1996.
The first time I met Coach Cole, she was about 8 months pregnant.
She told me that she runs in the morning with being pregnant. I mean, that even further goes, oh my gosh, how cool is this woman?
Her belly was so big, but she was walking around the Norman campus with me, and I didn't think she was gonna make it, but she did it.
She is very intentional about what she does. She had a very succinct game plan, and she might be chuckling right now and say, oh, I had you fooled. I mean, I doubt that, seriously.
You look at her calendar, I could look at her calendar for the month and I'm like, Lord, I'm glad I don't have to do that, and she gets it done.
I knew that from her hard work and dedication that she was going to be successful.
Whether it's on the court, whether she's reading a book, whether she's gardening, whether she's playing tennis, doesn't matter what she's doing, she's passionate about everything.
The style, the way that I coach is from her.
We did a Chicago Bull workout, and it was pretty awesome to realize that that's what we went through after we were all done, after we were trying to get our air back in our lungs.
I hate to say it like this, but I tell people, I had a daughter about almost 6 years ago, and having a daughter was not hard compared to the hard work that I went through with her.
You see the press of her going to Children's Hospital one time a month, but you don't realize she goes, every week.
She doesn't put on any mask. She's the same way on and off the court.
She loves her players. She loves her former players. She stays in touch with them, and it's almost like a grandma to all their kids now.
Nothing has changed. If anything, gotten better.
Her hair changes quite often. Sometimes it's long, sometimes it's short. That's it.
I want to thank you because we know, Coach Cole, that you went to battle for the program. We know that you went to battle for us.
Coach Cole is a great boss.
It's hard not to tag on I mean, come on. I mean, Coach Cole, I mean, eat this up. You should. We're presenting a cake, a big cake for you.
And I am just still elated to be even associated or tell people that I played for her. And, you know, whenever I do, people are like, ooh, you played for Coach Cole?
I'll be honest with you. I asked her when I was there last time. I said, how much you got left in you? And she just looked at me and just smiled.
When it's not fun anymore, you know, that's when she'll walk away. But, you know, her heart is with young people, so, you know, as long as she can, you know, still run, play tennis, and be active and get out here and, you know, show these kids how she wants it done, she'll be here.
Thanks, guys. A lot of fun to do this story. Everybody had such positive things to say. She was there for them, and she prepared them for life.
Thanks so much, Michael. Also, a special thanks to the Workman twins, Pam DaCosta, Jan Ross, and Shanika Breedlove. This year's regular season opener is this Friday night at 7 against Washington. Zach and Taylor are now joined by head coach Sherry Cole. Guys.
Coach Cole, thanks so much for being with us tonight. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
What was your reaction to that video?
That my hair was horrific. That was my reaction. Goodness gracious. Some of that footage should be burned. It was awesome to see the Workman twins and Shanika, obviously, guys who really came in and had to be committed to what we were doing. We didn't win a lot of games when those guys were here, and so when we went to our first Final Four, we made it a big deal to go back and invite all those guys whose hard work put us in a position to be able to do that. And then, of course, Jan and Pam, who have been my assistants. Jan's been with me every single year all along the way, and Pam for many years now. And they're just the dearest friends I have on this planet. So appreciate all of them for being involved.
Well, Coach, one of your biggest characteristics is your work that you do off the basketball court. Take us through, you know, how you like to get involved with the community and how you also like to get your players involved.
I think that one of the things about this job, one of my favorite things about it, is the platform that it gives you. You have an opportunity to make a difference, and I love being able to go to Children's Hospital and change the feeling of a room because I'm the women's basketball coach at the University of Oklahoma, and we with our team get to do a lot of things in the community and across the state that impact our state in a positive way, and we're very, very proud of that. But I have a lot of other interests besides being a basketball coach. I love to work in my garden, flower garden, not vegetables. There's a difference there. I love to write and to read, and as has been mentioned many times, I'm all about the tennis thing now. A little bit passionate about that, but I have a lot of interest, love all kinds of sports, and stay really, really busy.
Well, your next regular season win is your 400th win. Is there a certain amount of wisdom that comes along with winning that many games?
Yeah, score more points than the other guys. That's advisable. You know, everybody wants to talk about the 400th win, and I'm like, I feel like I've been here forever. It's about time I won 400 games. It's not really that big of a deal to me while I'm in the middle of it. I know one day when I'm retired and sitting on a beach reading a great novel, I'll think back to it and it'll be really important. But right now, for us, it's just about beating Washington and starting the year off 1-0.
Okay, well, I think Allison has an audience question for you.
This one coming from one of your players.
Oh, Lord.
I know you love playing tennis. I do, too. I just am curious to why or what made you fall in love with the game of tennis.
Well, I had a bucket list of things. I still have a bucket list of things, but when my daughter was old enough to drive herself to school, for all the parents out there who are watching, driving to school is sort of this rite of passage. It's a thing that parents live for. And I knew that my son's already in college. When my daughter gets her license, I'm no longer going to be driving kids to school. And I'd done that for a long, long time. And I knew I was going to ache for that time. And so I wanted something to fill it. And there were two things on my bucket list. I was either going to learn how to play the piano or I was going to learn how to play tennis. And I called a piano teacher and left a message, and I called a tennis instructor and left a message. And John Reeves answered me first, so here I am playing tennis. The best I can do on the piano is still a little entertainer. I can play that, and that's about it. But my serve and my forehand and my slice, they're good, Richie. They're getting better.
Awesome story. Good question. Coming up next in this week's Sooner Sports Pad Challenge, we're playing four-way ping pong. It's going to be a fun one. Stay with us. Welcome back to Sooner Sports Pad. Coming up this week in Sooner Sports TV, men's basketball's exhibition game against Southwest Oklahoma State Tuesday night at 7. Volleyball versus Iowa State Wednesday night at 7. Women's basketball season opener Friday night at 7 against Washington. And Sooner Sports game day at 1:30 on Saturday, leading you up to OU Texas Tech. For a complete schedule, check your local listings or head over to Soonersports.tv. It's now time for this week's Sooner Sports Pad Challenge. I've got head coach Sherry Cole with me. We've also got two of her players, Maddie Manning and Whitney Ritchie, and they're going to team up against our hosts in four-way ping pong. Guys, how does it work?
Okay, so Maddie and Whitney are teaming up against us, as Allison said. But Taylor, this is the thing. It's as easy as this. It's ping pong, double style, with a four-way table, if that makes sense. So hit it wherever you want. You get the points based on the doubles team that you're with. So Maddie and Whitney, obviously you score points based on if Taylor and I do anything wrong. You guys ready?
Okay, here we go. 3,
here we go.
2, 1, go.
Let's go, Richie.
So you don't want to get points in this game, pretty much.
Come on, Taylor.
All right, that's okay.
Sorry, I'm so strong.
Oh, man. Good save.
All right, 2-0, y'all.
I don't know what.
Whose is that?
That's ours.
There you go. You see why I picked her now.
All right.
Nice
2-2.
effort, though.
Okay. Whoa, get over here.
You got it, Zach?
Go.
Ooh, spin. Oh!
All right, 3-1.
Okay, go. That was scary.
All right, 4-1. Come on, host, pick it up.
Oh.
4-2. We'll go 4-2.
Come on, baby.
All right, obviously we know who our winners are. Good job, y'all. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next week.